How was your weekend? How was your first day back starting the week off?
Well, this is my weekend, so this is my second day off. So my first day was pretty rough. I think I'm coming down with a cold. I got a sore throat, and in our profession, it sucks to have a sore throat when you have to talk to X amount of people throughout the week. So other than that, it's been pretty good. I mean, I still feel blessed and happy to be here. What about you?
I'm counting my blessings just the same. Just grateful for being in the present, for being able to have this conversation. Um, Food, shelter, clothing, air, anger, happiness, joy. I embrace all of it. I'm at an age where nothing is going to be worth complaining about at all. So
I agree.
what I want you to do though, um, I'm gonna give you the floor. I want to give you the opportunity before we get into tonight's topic to introduce yourself to the people. Whatever you want to let them know about you, you are free to share your thoughts, and we will go from there.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Miley Burton. You can also find me on my own podcast called The Wonderland Effect. I am found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that good stuff. So that's basically a mild summary of me. Um, I think I'm more or less I'm not really a feminist type of person. So I do like some traditional values. I can't say fully traditional because obviously not a lot of us are fully traditional these days. Um, and I'm open to conversations and opinions. I mean, we all have our thoughts, and that's pretty much as best of a summary as I can give.
Well, I'm humbled to have you on. I thank you for sharing your thoughts here. Uh, I try to make it very clear that whether or not a person agrees or disagrees, and I have to continuously express this, we do not have to trade ignorance to make our points. We do not have to go down that stereotypical, this person started saying this to this person, so I had to say this back, and then it turns into an argument, and you're just wasting precious time that could have gone into something else productive.
I agree.
So let's try to set the standard moving forward on social media, especially in our line of work. Because I swear, every time I turn on a camera or I turn on my device, it'll start out pretty smooth, and then it'll turn into something that it never should have. So
I think it depends. A lot of people don't know how to just listen, not to respond, but just to listen is a pretty hard thing.
why do you think that though?
I think we have a need to be first always or right always, or we seem to think that our programming is everybody else's, it should be everybody else's programming. Especially if it worked for us, a lot of us are giving advice from personal experience or things that we take as absolutely correct.
Yeah, and it's sad though. I get it, but that to me is a form of pride and ego. Um,
Yeah, it's hard to let go of. I mean, everybody wants to be better than each other sometimes, and nobody really wants to. It's competition more than collaboration a lot of times, where I see people should be more collaborative. They could go further if they were collaborate with people. Like even with podcasting, a lot of people don't like to come on each other's platforms, don't like to give someone their time. Like, who's to say that you don't benefit from that? But instead of thinking about it like, oh, I'm going to benefit from it, maybe it just really is good content, or maybe that person really had a point that you agree with. Like, a lot of people don't like to do that either. Acknowledge that either they were wrong or somebody has more insight than them.
I believe that nothing is of circumstance. Like, I give you an example. I used to be around a lot of folks that got very impatient in traffic.
Hmm.
They had to get home. Just had to get home. Everybody that was in front of them, they were the enemy. They cussing them out. They just pissed like, just,
Yeah.
hurry up, go. Like, but then you realize, well, me, from a spiritual sense,
Hmm.
you realize that some delays are for a reason. So if you're
Say,
not getting there right when you want to, you should probably be grateful.
yeah. But that's just like with everything in life. Like, when something doesn't happen the way that we want it to, we fixate on why it didn't happen or the fact that it didn't happen. And then later down the line, you might get something that's 20 times better than what you originally planned. You never know.
If only we would slow down,
It's hard to do when
slow.
everything is like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I'm guilty of it. I
Me
have a
too.
habit of being impulsive sometimes. I'm better than what I was, but you know. And I
Me too.
wanted to go back to something you said too, about how folks don't want to invest in other people, the collaborative part.
Yep.
You don't, you never know what you can learn from somebody, or what type of relationship you can build with somebody just
Mhm.
by doing those little things. Because for me, if you show up for me, I'm going to remember that forever.
Yep.
It can be just you sending me a random letter or a hello.
Yep.
I take those things very seriously. And then moving forward, I'm always going to be in my back of my head. Well, I need to see what's going on with this person because it's all about really trying to connect with people.
Hmm.
My social media experiences are completely different than what they used to be, because now I can't just talk with everyone. I can indulge myself in conversations, but there's only certain limitations with certain people. You'll probably speak to one person for like 10 minutes and never hear from them again, or you might speak to this person and you're locked in for 3 years, 4 years, so you never really know. So I don't want to block my blessings, and I also don't want to create this weird space where someone looks at what I'm doing
Hmm.
and they think that I'm a part of the problem that is making it hard for people to really network. I don't want to be in that type of circle. So
I think a lot of people are stuck in that I got to do it first or I did it first, and I don't. They want to gatekeep any type of success, which I understand. But you get further with building great connections. I always tell people, especially at my 9 to 5, it's bad business if you don't show up as you should. Like, if you don't support how somebody else supports you, you have now set the tone for that relationship, and that person may never reach out to you again. And honestly, you don't know what somebody else's path of success is going to look like. So as selfish as it is, I would also look at it like these relationships could eventually help me one day. You know, like it doesn't have to be today. I You don't have to gatekeep your knowledge because you think that somebody's going to do it better than you. You should want them to do it better than you. You know, like you should have that connection with each other. And a lot of people are so digital, they don't even know how to have conversations with people anymore, and we should be bothered by that. How can we expect real life connections when nobody's having real life connections?
I think we're completely straying further and further away from it. Everything is scroll, 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 respond, repost, 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 share. Like you can only get but so much out of it. Like if I make a post talking about a portion of my childhood, and then someone gets on there, and that's fine. I appreciate it, but then what? What after that?
It's very short, but
You
that
know?
goes to show correlation with short attention spans, with everybody chasing a dopamine fix that won't necessarily fix the real problem. We're lacking in human connection, human intimacy. And I'm not talking about sexual intimacy, I'm talking about just regular conversations between people. Those are intimate. Sharing your life with people should be intimate. And it was intimate until the need to overshare came up. And now I'm not sure if you experience it, but you did mention this a little bit earlier where you were talking about you can't just talk to everybody, because it's true. Not only is everybody out here with their own personal brand, which I think a lot of people forget, but also the influence that influences them could possibly influence you. So you do have to be selective about the circle you keep. You should. Like I think back in the days when your parents used to say like, "Oh, that person was no good for you." That was the way that you gauged it, and that was for good reason, because if you hang around uh, similar type of people that you want goals, then you'll have a better outcome 99% of the time. Maybe there's like an anomaly that happens. But you really are you are who you hang around. You become them and they become you.
Yeah. And I don't think people really believe it. I don't think they understand how serious it is. When I was in second, third grade, we had a little science project. We had to take these seeds and we had to put them on. We It was like you had um one plate that had soil. The other
Mm-hmm.
plate had nothing but tissue, and you will put the seed in one with the soil. You will put one on the other one with the tissue, and then you would put water on it, put light on it, and then over time you will see which one would grow
Mm-hmm.
the fastest. Well, surprise, surprise, the seed that was in the plate with the tissue actually grew. I didn't think that was possible. How can a seed grow from that? Well, that's how I associate certain interactions with people,
Mm-hmm.
with your words and with your thoughts and the trajectory that you're going. You can really alter someone's course just by the things that you do and say. So, yeah, I totally agree with what you said.
I just think more people need to take their personal life into account when they're thinking about, like, okay, small business owners. They A lot of the communities that I'm a part of, they always say you are your brand, because you are. You are the face. You bring to the table what they are going to perceive about your business. It's the same thing in your life. Like that's what an Instagram profile ultimately is. Like these profiles let people see into your life to see what you represent. Now, some people, they have all their kids and their family, and you know that person values that or likes to show that off. So you learn things about people based off of what they show. And if you're the type of person that seems inconsistent, like you don't have a lot going on other than drama, then you're gonna rack up some bad credit with some people. Like less and less people are gonna take you seriously, less and less people are gonna want to do business with you. That is like the best structure I've seen about life. How you present yourself is exactly how people are going to perceive you. So I value my relationships, my business relationships, even us, our relationship now, because it's not only I am learning so much from you and your lives and how you operate, but I get the opportunity to speak to you and see past the podcast, like what kind of person you are, like talk to you. This is virtually like a little piece of a connection. And I prefer this type of connection versus Instagram or text messages or anything that is void of a lot of emotions.
Yeah, cause don't get it twisted. I read the regular messages just like people who capitalize their letters. I don't understand that. I don't. What are you enlarging your letters for?
For emphasis.
I yeah, but I thought I thought like the exclamation mark was supposed to give you that effect.
I
What's the
still do.
point of? I mean, to each his own. To each his own. I'm still going to read it regularly,
Yeah.
but I mean, I digress. Even reading messages in text and things like that, you still can't necessarily gauge how a person feels either. So, but that's why I like poetry so much.
I love poetry. Though I did see a couple of clips where you had some poets on here, and I do like that aspect. I think a lot of people forget the artistry of poetry. It's not only makes your mind think, but it's also a different way to express yourself. Which is why I think they need to bring back open mic nights. I love open mic nights.
Yeah, Lord willing, I want to open up one. I want to have my own actual building where I can do it myself. I
Hmm.
enjoy doing the virtuals
Yeah.
because the virtuals came at a time where everybody was in the house for
Hmm.
me when COVID hit, and it broke me out of my shell. It made me more comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I could show
That's
off my personality more, and
people need to realize like you're taking a huge risk putting your face on here. Like I wish more people would understand that this is a big risk. Like y'all don't understand when you put your face so publicly on something. It is a lot.
don't mind the soundboard. I should have warned you about it. I ain't have time to because the technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream. But yeah, my soundboard is like my favorite Christmas toy. I
I love
always add my effects in there. So, but now
yeah.
you're right.
That's my little skill.
So there's a video that was
Mhm.
shared with me,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to make sure I got the right one. Um, Here it is, right here. Matter of fact, shout out to Greg Kelly. He sent me this earlier, and when I watched it, I was really thinking to myself, how much is out here that that's actually the truth? How much do we really own? How much are we really keeping private? I'm gonna play
So
it so you can hear it.
I was gonna say
But
we're talking about man. Oh boy, here we go.
yeah, hopefully I don't get no issues with YouTube for this. I'm not playing the video. I'm gonna play it into the mic so you can hear it. But I just thought it was interesting. I figured why not tap into this real quick. So hold up, let me turn this up. Without anyone noticing, owners
ownership. We used to pay money and then the thing actually belonged to us. Now everything is sold as a service, music as a service, movies as a service. We spend and we hold nothing in our hands. This got my wheels turning. I want to talk about it. So at face value, it reminds me of a time when we would buy CDs, DVDs, we could watch or listen to it whenever we wanted. Today, if a movie or song gets removed from all platforms, there could literally be no official way to access it. What it got me thinking about was the future of the public record and who is actually in control of it. Remember during the Super Bowl when Alicia Keys hit that bad note and the next day all the official media had the note fixed? Some people want it all. Some people want it all. If it weren't for people having their own archive, the official record is actually a lie. It's an intentional misrepresentation of what actually happened. And it's all fun and games when you're talking about just entertainment. What happens with things that are more important? And I just think about the ripple effect of what this could mean longer term. Like, who is the controller of truth or of reality? I think that we're going to start to see fractures in having what you remember be different from what the historical record is of that moment in time. So this concept of ownership for me is more about control over consumption, and as a result, global understanding of the truth. I'm mostly just thinking out loud, but I do think it could be a great basis for a case study or a thesis. I'm not going to write it, but one of y'all should, because I think there's a lot to it.
So now that you heard it for yourself,
Oh boy, we're gonna go into a whole different realm. I mean, it depends on who's watching and what you believe. But if you believe that the government is giving you 100% of the truth, absolutely not. I truly believe there's a top 1%, and we all should believe that controls and censors everything we're fed. Everything. Even the things we think might be right might be wrong. Like, there's nothing, it's so many people that go missing because they find out a piece of information that the top 1% may not want you to know. And there's so many things that people discover, like scientifically, that they may not want you to know that will go missing. And you'll see like snippets of these that rise up, and then all of a sudden you can't find it. Or there's people that get canceled, killed, assassinated essentially for things that they find out that they're not supposed to find out. So, do I think that public records are fake? Absolutely, because nothing we have access to is 100% true. And you had to be there at some of these things to actually say that it really happened certain ways. Because even if we date back history, a lot of history was manipulated by kings, by archive writers, historians, XYZ, these people that translated. How do we know they translated correctly? Like, there's so many loopholes that you can clearly see we have a history of people changing history. So what really goes on, we will never know.
I don't even know why it's even in question.
I think because some people trust exactly what they see. They trust exactly what's fed. And a lot of the times, like even if you look at the last election, everybody was on board for certain things because they seen it on mainstream media. Nobody really does the research that they need to do because a lot of people would rather live in the lie than live in the truth. It's easier.
I had disputes with a young lady on TikTok about the
We love
election.
it.
Not necessarily, it, wa- it wasn't nec- it wasn't necessarily about the election per se. I was more or less making the case that we really don't have any black representatives in the community. Um, because I watched a video where somebody was speaking on it, and I'm like, damn, he kind of right. Like the people that they put in front of us, they're typically folks that rap about sex, drugs in prison, and the men and women that you would probably name, we don't see nearly enough of. And if they are notable people, well, if they're notable, why aren't you using these people in your campaigns? Why aren't you using these people on your podcast? Why aren't you talking to them? But you're putting people up there like Charleston White and so on and so forth. and she was in the live stream watching me. She wanted to come up so bad, and she got defensive about what I said about Kamala Harris. And
I don't
yeah,
like this conversation with people because they get so emotionally attached to the truth. Like they get or to the lies that they believe. It's so like I don't like talking about politics to regular people because half of you do not do your research. Half of you don't even know how the electoral college works. You don't know what popularity vote is, and you don't understand how the actual presidency works. So it's like beyond me. Like somebody asked me the other day, they were like, "So who'd you vote for?" And I was just like, I don't want to talk about this, so I'm not going to talk about this because I don't have to explain to you where and why I casted my vote. But also, I want to avoid an argument because you're going to argue with me. I already know. Well, like majority of the black people I know wanted to vote for Kamala. That's great. By all means, you do your thing. That's not exactly what would align with me, but you do whatever you feel is best. But my opinions are sometimes a lot of people don't like a lot of the things that I say. Like even on my own platform, I done got thrashed for saying that women lack accountability and all kind of stuff. But when it comes to things as sensitive like elections and people are so emotionally tied to it, but what are you actually tying yourself to? It you can't tell people the truth these days because people take it so wrong or your opinion. They get so fixated and emotionally bound to your opinion. It's like I didn't say anything when you said your opinion. Why do I not get to have my moment for my opinion? That's a bit crazy to me.
right,
So I
right.
don't know. Everybody has their own opinions about the election, but if you don't know the basics about our government, I really don't want to have a conversation with you about our government.
Respectfully,
That's like I've had to say
nobody,
that a bunch.
nobody. I don't. I just. I will never understand why people get so sensitive about politics and religion. Look, man. No, nobody knows 100% of everything.
And like we just talked about, everything's so tailored and has been edited. Let's be honest about it. Everybody, half of the stuff that you think you know probably didn't even happen that way. Like even if you take today's world, like let's go like mainstream media real quick. Diddy, how did this man do all of this and everybody's all of a sudden, oh my god, he's such a horrible person. And if we want to talk about R. Kelly, all of these things were done and people knew about it, but it wasn't written about. And if it was stifled. And if it was censored, it was taken off. PR teams are a part of the lies. Like if we could do that for celebrities, what makes you think we're not doing that for history? What makes you think we're not stifling that?
Thank you, thank you. I mean, and here's the thing: like this happens in impoverished areas.
Mm-hmm.
Sn- you know
Yeah.
the snitch code, no snitching. You don't rat on your friends. You don't do this. The sister code, all that.
All
Well,
these
what is that? All these codes, all them codes. If it is happening right here where we at, so they're the ones who are trying to make sure that their legacy lives on forever. You think they're not going to do everything in their power to ensure that their world doesn't crumble around them?
it is a control game. I really do. I hope people understand that. Like this is all controlled. Censorship is real. There is no place in this world that isn't censored. We like to claim that America's the land of the free. How free are you actually? Like, how many of us go to work and we literally are working to pay bills? Why are we so afraid to be greater than what society has told us we should be? Why do only a certain amount of people ever start a business and become successful? Like, there's so many questions that people need to start asking themselves, like, why do I feel like I need to do this or do that? Why do these agendas affect me so much? And what am I consuming? Like, what are you watching? That has a lot of it. Like, I don't watch mainstream media anymore because it's just pointless to me. Like, if I want to know something, I'll probably do a little bit of research, but that only goes so far because they're only going to let me know so much.
because you really just don't know what you're going to get. And that was exactly what I was trying to tell the woman who was so fixated on Kamala Harris. She kept on saying, "You on a laptop right now? You on a computer right now? Go ahead, type in such and such, such and such. Go read her policies. Go read this. Go read that." And I told her
Did she read her policies?
respectfully.
Did she read her policies? Did
Well, I
she
mean,
read platform?
the way, the way, the way that she was acting, she read them, but it was my thing was it wouldn't matter if I read them or not. That doesn't mean I'm going to believe it anyway, because just like Google doesn't have everything correct,
Hmm.
why would I believe? Like, really think about the movies be telling on everybody,
Oh yeah, but
literally.
some knows. Did you know? I'm sorry to interrupt your point. I just have to say this. So I was watching a snippet with Candace Owens. Did you know that the feds fund certain movies and censor certain movies that are allowed in the population? Did you know that? I did not know that.
I wouldn't be surprised though.
Like a lot of like some movies are actually funded by the government and some movies are taken down by the government. I knew about the taking down, but funding them is crazy. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. That was just a. I saw that yesterday and I was like, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, I did a reaction to um, a senator was I don't know. I need to do a follow up. The senator or the governor was caught up in trafficking, and it was not only connected to him, but it was connected to um, a number of other people within that group. So nothing for me personally, nothing is off limits. Humans are just uninhibited with their imagination, with their flesh. So if you don't have no discipline and you're unruly, and yeah, I don't put nothing past a single soul at all.
I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't either. How
But
do
it's
you?
sad because right, and it's sad because I find myself sometimes on here and I see
Mhm.
different stories, and sometimes I'm wondering, is this real?
Or is it?
Nobody could nobody could be that sick. Nobody could be that nasty. Nobody could be that dark. Come on, man. This got to be fake. This can't be real. And but then you realize, well,
It can be.
humans are human. Yeah,
It just bothers me because how much of that is being censored and controlled too. Like you really, I'm sure they know plenty of monsters out here because they have so many searches for that kind of thing, and then how many people are actually being brought in for the searches that they're searching. You know, you have they have ways to filter out what people search, and if you don't know that, you should know that your government can see what you're searching at any point in time. Like I think my favorite reference or even the best thing that I ever heard or watched was when they were correlating this world to the Matrix. It really is a Matrix. It there's no other way to put it. Half of the stuff that we see isn't real, or it's curated to make it look like a certain thing so that we believe it and we feed into it.
here's a good question. You can demonetize me for saying the RAPE word.
You can,
You can
yeah,
you can demonetize me for speaking on the LGBTQ community, but you mean to tell me that with the technology we have, you telling me all of these websites where they do inhumane things to children and all that, you telling me they can manage to elude you for years and years and years without any consequences? Come
it's
on.
crazy. It's crazy. To me, it doesn't make any sense. We live in the age of technology, yet we're still fighting a lot of technology wars. It's crazy to me. Like, if you have a machine that can tell you when I talked about certain things, then you should have a machine that tells you when other people are searching anything. And they do. They just pick and choose what they want to fixate on and what they want to report. It's completely crazy. And if people really did the time to think about it, we love our cell phones. We love all kinds. Like, I got an Apple Watch, I got a MacBook, I got my iPad and my cell phone. All of those are connected to each other and to the world. Like, it's not just us. You have an iCloud that's accessible to your government at any time. You know those little things everybody signs on and they don't read it. It says you're giving anybody of the government range access to your iCloud if anything happens. Like, people need to start reading the fine print on what they're signing away. Those agreements are not just for the hell of it. Those agreements are contracts, are signatures that you're putting on contracts.
I just don't think people care at this point.
They don't until they have to care. It's not a problem until it's a problem for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Which I think,
that's the disappointing part. That's another reason why I say you got to be very very careful with who you keep around you. I don't care if it's family. I don't care if you gave birth to them. The world will eat people alive, shoot them up and spit them out. You won't even recognize them anymore. That's how powerful the enemy is, and how aesthetically appealing these vices are to the human eye.
mhm. There's a reason they
Some
keep making updates. Like, I don't think people realize that either. And why are you updating something all the time? It can't just be software. Like, it cannot be just software. Sorry, it doesn't happen just for the software.
oh nah, I have an iPhone. I'm not doing all of that. All I need my phone to do is make phone calls, give me access to things that I need for projects, etc., etc. That's it. I don't need.
You ever see those people that go off grid? Like the people they talk about that
Love those.
disappear.
You talking about disappear.
Like, you haven't heard from them for years. Like, they haven't announced that
Yeah,
it's a death or not. A lot of those people probably know something and either are hiding or they've been killed. Like, I
yeah.
hear about all these people that create off the grid living situations, and I completely understand because I would do that too. I would literally try to set up an off the grid living situation to make sure that I was okay because eventually something might happen. I don't know. With all this technology, I don't think something's happening. Like, they just created, not just created, but AI robots on the way. Like, y'all not worried about that? Y'all not worried about that at all? Like, it's wild to me because the whole goal is to make less jobs for humans and have these robots replace them. So nobody wants to admit that they're a little afraid that this is going to turn into iRobot.
You know what got me concerned is a video I just saw it yesterday. You can scan and pay for your stuff using your hand.
What? I did not see
It's here.
that.
It's here.
Oh, we're getting chipped. Y'all ready? We're getting chipped next. We are chipped. The phones.
Yeah, but you're not putting nothing in my body. I don't care. I
You
will
know,
go off grid. I watch look, I watch enough of them videos. I know how to dig a hole in the ground and
dog.
build. Yeah, yeah. I love those videos. I do.
My thing is, I'd
This
be scared of vaccinations. Like, y'all better start watching out for vaccinations because if they want to chip us, they can. You put it in the vaccination, now everybody's chipped after you done told them that it's an epidemic.
that part. That part. I
Easy. Signed, sealed, delivered.
see, man. Now, because I ended up doing it the first time it hit because
Me too.
they try to make it hard for you to find work. Like in
Yeah.
order for me to get the job that I was at, I had to get the joint. So it was like, yeah, I want some. But they said you didn't have to at first, and then they ended up saying you got to.
But
But then
also,
I still
you lock people in their house for 3 years. Nobody worried about that. Like, nobody's worried about that. That's crazy.
right, right. That's why I don't believe everything I see on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Like this video right here that I just played. I
Mhm.
mean, he didn't really say nothing that I was really surprised of. It was just kind of like, yeah, this shit happened.
That's blatant.
Yeah, it happened. Just
And
like
sorry, go ahead.
there was a another video I watched. I'm probably going to speak on that a little deeper tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was on a movie called Blank Check. I don't know how many people seen that. That's a old that one's back in the early '90s. Um, where the little kid was a 12-year-old millionaire, and they clipped the scene where he was with a older woman, and she told him to holler at her in like 6 years or something, and then she went in for the kiss. So she kisses a 12-year-old, and then they made a meme out of it on Instagram. I'll send it to you. But
Mm-hmm.
it was like the stuff that we got away with back then. Ain't no way you're getting away with that now. Absolutely not.
I think every year they pick a different thing to fixate that they're not going to allow. It's always different. It's never the same thing. Like, they edit so many different things and encourage different things. You go from body positivity to gay rights to I don't know what's next to the AI robots, like to all kinds of things that we don't take into account. Like, so much transforms, but have y'all looked at the transformation that's happening? It's a little crazy. Like, with every advancement, we get some crazy government edits. Like, since we're talking about that overall, like, y'all need to look at it, start looking at it. What's illegal then might not be illegal now. Oh, weed. That'd be the most recent one. Weed. We arrested people, incarcerated them for that, and then now it's legal. It's crazy.
Yeah. And before you know it, people gonna be shooting up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, me and my friend were talking about it. I we become more conscious of the stuff we're putting in our bodies, but this is so profound and so small. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. Sugar is very close to cocaine. It's one molecule off. Everything we consume has sugar in it. If you go pick up something Like I didn't know there was sugar in a lot of the drinks that I drink, and I didn't have to pay attention to it until I switched over in my diet. But that just goes to show if only one molecule is makes a difference from sugar in a drug, sugar is a drug as well. Like you do go with through withdrawals. You have what a lot of it starts like I had this moment where it was literally like I've never been on crack, but I'm pretty sure this is how a crackhead would feel. Like the thought that I needed it and I didn't care what kind it was, I just wanted it now. Like that's pretty scary. I've never had that moment, but I've never been completely off of sugar. And it's kind of sickening because sugar is in everything and nobody reads the ingredients. It's like the fine print in a contract. Nobody's reading any of these things, so they're just putting it in their bodies. Like what was it that was recently recalled? Was it bananas or something like that for E. coli?
Yeah.
It's like nobody is paying attention to just the bare minimum things of what we're putting into our bodies and what it does. All this kidney failure, heart, obesity, all of that is feeding the pharmaceutical companies that are making millions. And why are they allowed to do this? Why is the FDA allowing this to happen? That's crazy.
I feel horrible. I feel real horrible because I got a crap load of
Sugar.
uh, donut sticks, cereal, ice cream. Uh, yeah, I got like a bakery in here, man.
It's
This
like
might I might have
if you go
I
through
might have
your eating habits and you look at your ingredients and you don't understand what's on the back of that, you might need to be worried.
for my family to have a history of high blood pressure and this, that, and the third. I think it's time for me to reevaluate some stuff. And I'll be first to admit I don't eat the healthiest. So I think it's about time for me to take that a little more serious, though. Honestly, I think a lot of people need to. I know it seems super underrated, but the way you described it as a drug, it absolutely can be a drug. It just is disguised in sugary pleasures or um yeah. So, but it's us. You can't blame nobody else. It's there. We don't read. You right.
Yep.
So how can you really blame somebody for that part?
It's a lot. I mean, it's human nature. We're just doing what we have been taught throughout the years, and we're just this habit. When you do it for so long, it's second nature. Like anything that you practice, you gonna gravitate towards it. There's just no, there's not a lot of there shouldn't be a blame game, but I'm just saying people should start reading what's on the back of their food and that people should be a little more conscious. It won't take away from the additives that they put in everything, but it will help you like slow down inflammation. And you'll see like once you start eliminating certain things and you go back to it, it might inflame your body. You might wake up and your face might be 2 times the size it was before you went to bed. It's a lot of things that affect our bodies in different ways. But that's just the bare minimum thing that I've noticed recently with changing diets. It's like when I go back to eating the way I was, my face gets super inflamed, or even alcohol consumption, it inflames my face, that thing too. So it's a lot of paying attention. You might not comment on it, but paying attention to your entire life, like what's changing in your environment.
I tell you what. Let me finish off everything that I got here now, and then I'll start from scratch.
Yep, that's the best way to do it. And then don't keep it in the house because it's you're gonna go crazy. I'm telling you right now. Craziest thing was me sitting in my room and I was like, I don't care what kind of sugar it is. I just want sugar. And I don't care where I get it from, but I'm gonna go get it. It was really bad. I've never been on drugs and I didn't know what that felt like, but I can imagine that that's what a withdrawal would feel like. You feel
Oh,
crazy.
I've done that before. I've eaten an entire box of donuts
Hmm.
in like a day, 2 days, and then I didn't have no more sweets. I finished my cereal off. I didn't have the cereal to go to. I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, what can I? What's the next best thing? Like it's not my number one priority, but I gotta substitute this for something. Let me think. What can I substitute? Oh, right, peanut butter and jelly.
That has sugar in it too. It's you have to kind of pick and choose your battles, I guess you would say, but just slowly start to filter it out because it's gonna impact you regardless. You're gonna whew, have some moments. Even in medicine, sugar is in medicine too.
I believe it. A matter of fact, I'm certain it was spoken about. I
Yeah.
glossed over it, but I've heard people say they don't want to get addicted to pain pills and stuff like that. And I can see why. I can. I've never gotten addicted to no pain pills, but
Yeah, it gives you a euphoria that people are chasing. I mean, who doesn't want to feel good for whatever amount of time it works?
yeah, yeah. Uh,
What do you
final
feel?
thoughts. Final thoughts.
I like this conversation. This was a great conversation. I did not know we were going to go to that. Um, my final thoughts are: if you think you got 100% of the truth, we are far from 100%. You might be lucky with 60% coming from the government.
That's just being generous.
It is not
Yeah.
necessarily. I'm sure it's less, but that's just my take on it.
Um. My final thoughts. First and foremost, I love this discussion. Um. Think about it this way: when you go to buy something on Amazon or wherever you go, you ever ask yourself why it pops up on your social media afterwards?
All the time.
Anything that I've ever purchased, it always shows up in my internet browser,
Mhm.
shows up on my laptop, or shows up via email or text message. There's some people out here that ain't got nothing better to do but to invade people's privacy and steal their information.
100%. I
Them
just had
folks,
someone try to hack my bank account.
really,
They deposit well, they didn't even do it virtually. They got my information. They went to a credit union, deposited almost $6,000. Luckily, I have a cap on the account, but they tried to withdraw that. This was all remotely done. Like, yep, literally just happened to me.
dang. Well, good move on putting a stop to that. I'm glad you caught it, cause man,
I was
man,
watching it on virtually, watching it on my phone, seeing them deposit. Like I seen the amount go in there, and then they're trying to withdraw it, and my account sending me alerts. I'm like, wait a minute, like who's pulling this money out? Because I didn't pull no money out,
right.
and I'm trying to transfer it so they can't pull it out. And then I call my bank and cancel the card. I just got the account rectified today, so please be careful. The holidays are coming up. People are getting creative with stealing your identity and your information. Check your mailbox. Don't leave anything in there.
Get some cameras too for your property, cause Folks are they running up on your porch and snatching your packages. They don't even know what's in the package. They're just taking.
Want it because it's a box.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's only gonna get worse. It's the holidays, and a lot of people are still struggling from financial constraints. So be aware. Don't leave money in your car either.
that should be a number one no. I digress. Um, you want to shout out your platform again, social medias, anything where people can reach you at?
Okay, so you all can find me at the Wonderland Effect on YouTube, also the Wonderland Effect on Instagram or my underscore world 1203. That's my Instagram. So you can find me on any of those platforms. I have a link tree. It will take you to all of that if you want to find me in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate this. This was great. I'm not used to actual conversations, especially about political things or history. So this was great. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Honor and privilege to have you on. You kick some knowledge up here, and I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with me and everybody else. Uh, you always welcome, Mikasa, Isukasa. Um, hit me up anytime you need. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
Everybody that pulled up, thank you for tapping in with us. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. This is Assembly of Excellence saying good night.
Good night.